I'm just putting it out there. This might stress some of you guys out, so just bear with me. It don't help you, but your anxiety might get a little high. What is up, everybody? My name is Emily, and today it is just me because we got a whole bunch of wedding stuff to talk about. So if you saw in our previous video, me and Jake did find a wedding venue. We've got a date booked. We are so excited. But y'all, it's in 4.5 months. 4.5 months to plan a whole wedding while we're graduating, while I'm signing up for PA school. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but we found a venue. That's the first step. And so I'm gonna be telling you guys how I found a venue, how the process went, what all that I did, what I wish I did, what I didn't do, and try and help you guys out just starting on your journey. Welcome to the club if you're newly engaged. We got engaged December 20th, so not too long ago, and we're about to have a wedding already, which is crazy. But that means we gotta get down to business. We gotta start booking all these vendors and venues, and it can get very stressful. So hopefully this video will help you guys out. All right, so the first step is gonna be questions that vendors will ask you before anything happens, before you tour, before you email them. You've gotta know facts that you want in your wedding before you start getting advice from them. The main question is, how many guests do you want? So venues have capacities, some can hold 100, some can hold 300, but you've got to know where you are about on that scale so you can start ruling these venues out. If they can only hold 150 and you have 200 family members, then you're not going to be able to fit in a 150 venue. So you've got to kind of go through with your family, your fiance's family, and kind of get an estimate number. It does not have to be exact by all means, as long as it's like within 50. So you could say 100, you could say 150. We're gonna have about 150, hopefully. But just knowing that's the first question that these venues are gonna ask you. Second question they're gonna ask you is when you want your wedding. Do you want it fall, spring, winter, summer? Do you want it on a Saturday? Do you want it on a Friday or Sunday during the week? Those are a lot cheaper, by the way, if you do it during the week. But a lot of these places that I ran into are all booked for 2021. 2020 with the whole coronavirus took out a lot of these opportunities for these brides to have their wedding as their dreams. So now they've postponed them till 2021. And now that I want to get married in 2021, there's a conflict because every Saturday in 2021 is booked. And I'm like, all right, what am I supposed to do? So you've got to know about when you want your wedding. You could email these vendors and I would say I'm looking for a wedding between July and September, and they'll tell you the dates that they have available between them. You don't have to give them an exact date, but at least a range because it's going to vary a lot. So those are the main things that you've got to think about before even starting your venue search. Kind of know if you want alcohol or not, know your food if you want a buffet style or a sit down, 5-course meal. Because that is important to these venues when you go and tour. That's the first questions they're going to ask you, and you got to be ready so you know how to answer them best. All right, so let's say that there's this venue you found. You want 150 guests, they got you. They can hold 150 guests. And you want it on a Saturday in August, and they've got plenty of Saturdays available in August. Then you move and you're like, okay, here's some basic questions that you've got to ask to know how it's gonna fit in with what you want in your dream wedding. So the first question you've got to ask is pricing, obviously. If you have all the money in the world, good for you, but lots of us are gonna have a budget. So you want to know, most of them have packages. So you need to know what's included in that package and how much it's gonna cost. So you can start kind of comparing, if this place has an all-inclusive, this one doesn't, the price difference it would about to be. So if it's even close to being in your budget range or not. So that's a great first question, open up the conversation with packaging and pricing. See if it comes with a 1-hour rehearsal like the day before, because that's very important to run through your wedding very quickly. You also want to know about vendors. So some of them are BYO, so bring your own vendors. Some have a recommended list, but you can still use whoever you want. And some you have to use in-house catering, in-house, photography, whatever, and you have to use their vendors at their venue. That's a big decision. Me and Jake, we're not fancy people. We don't like all this lemon peppered salmon going on at our wedding because I don't like that personally. So all these people that like made you use their caterers were kind of like a knockoff to us, because I want to personalize it as much as possible, make it my own, Jake's own, and really just like what we want and who we are as a couple. So make sure that's another important question to ask. It's just kind of like what kind of vendors they have, what do they offer, and are you allowed to bring your own without a charge? Because some of them are hefty prices to bring your own vendors. Another important question that you've got to think about, but also ask them, is where you want your ceremony and reception. Lots of places have indoor, outdoor. Some have options for both. If there's rain, are you going to want a venue that's all outdoors, and you've got to, check up on the radar every single day, make sure it's not going to rain on your big day. So that's another important question that you've got to kind of think about, is there options of where you can have your ceremony and reception. And the last main basic question is how many hours you're gonna get within your package for your day. So some give you an hour for reception, they give you an hour for your ceremony, 3 hours for your rehearsal, and that's it. That's all. That is all is included in your package, and that might make a big difference if you want an all-day event. If you want a whole weekend package, then that's kind of important to ask, what are you getting, what bang are you getting for your buck? Now we're gonna talk about more kind of detailed questions that you would only ask if you go on a tour or seriously considering them for booking at your wedding. So the first thing is you've got to know what all is included in your package. So I know I said this before, but for instance, our venue does a day package and a weekend package. And the day package does not come with any tables and chairs. You'd have to rent them. Where if you get the weekend package, it comes with tables, chairs, sparklers, photo booth, everything you can imagine. And when you do the math, it ends up being $100, $200 more expensive to do the weekend package. We get all day Friday, we can do the rehearsal dinner, start decorating. We get all day Saturday, 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. We don't have to worry about doing a whole wedding in 4 hours like some of these venues expect you to do. And we get Sunday to clean up, load out, whatever we need, so we're not all miserable Saturday night, busting floors and tables after, you party too hard. So doing the math on that, making sure that, you're making the best option, you're getting the biggest value out of your money is very important. It ended up being the better decision for us just to get everything included. We don't have to worry about how many tables and chairs we have to rent. And for us, it was just a lot easier and simpler to get the bigger package. The next question you need to ask is how they do staffing. So at ours, they will take care of restrooms, trash. They will break down and clean up tables and chairs because we're getting them from them, which is really important to know what they're going to be responsible for and what you're going to be responsible for. I know as a bride, we're not really worried about who's cleaning up and who's setting up, but your parents are, and we've got to think about them and make sure that they know what we're signing them up for, and are they going to be taking the trash out the whole wedding and not being able to enjoy seeing their daughter get married, So just kind of ask them if they do have staff, what they're able to do, can they serve food? Can they cut and serve the cake? Just to kind of know what you're going to be responsible for and, needing to hire all these servers and vendors to take care of that for whatever they don't do. So more about decorating. So some of these venues have decorations that are either free of charge, they just have in-house that you can use, you have free access to, or that they have in-house and you can rent. So this is a great way to save money. My venue comes with a whole list of stuff that they have that we can use for free, whether it be chalkboard tables and signs and chairs and metal baskets and all these other little decorations that we would just have to either buy or rent, and this way we can save a lot of money, just go through them, it's already there. And that's a good way to just kind of figure out like your decoration theme, you know, what they're going to include, what you might be responsible for. Another question you might want to ask is what time you can start setting up. So let's say you have a 3-hour wedding, that's all they're giving you time for. You know, can you come in, if no one's booked the night before, can you come in and decorate? You know, are you allowed to come in Saturday morning and start decorating? You know, depending on that answer is going to depend on how much you can decorate, how much you have time to do. You can also ask them if they work with a rental company. So some of these people don't have decorations that you could use, but they work hand in hand with a rental company that, you know, they've done millions of weddings at this location. They know typical, like what people ask, what people rent, and how everything kind of like goes about. So that's going to be super helpful. You can ask, let's say after the wedding when you're walking out, if you want sparklers, smoke bomb, confetti, bird seed, you know, whatever the tradition may be that you want to include. Some people don't allow that on their property. I know some people want like a fireworks, you know, like go all out with a bang. And some people, you know, my location's in a big forest, so I'm not sure fireworks would be the smartest idea. I'm sure that's not even allowed. Another thing is about candles. You want to ask if that's allowed inside the venue. So my reception and ceremony are going to be inside. And a big question is, can we have candles? You know, and candles just set the mood, you know, it makes it formal. It makes, you know, the lighting perfect. And if you are already on Pinterest looking up candle centerpieces and you can't have candles, that might be a deal breaker, honestly, if you already have everything else picked out. So you need to ask what kind of decorations are allowed and if they work with a rental company to get that all figured out. Some questions that you might not think about to ask that, you know, after we toured, we're like, oh, I need to email, you know, the owner and figure out this question. It's kind of like the hidden charges. So there's, you know, all these venues are gonna have insurance just to save them, to save you. And some make you get wedding liability insurance in your name and add them like to your insurance. Granted, it's not gonna be like thousands of dollars, but it's still gonna be a charge that like you're responsible for. Some of these places you have to have a day of coordinator who just like keeps everyone on schedule, on track. They usually have one, if they require one, they'll have one that you can use, or it's a $250 charge if you wanna bring someone else in. They have to be licensed. If you're gonna have alcohol, you've gotta have alcohol insurance just to make sure, and like the bartender has to be licensed to make sure there's no, you know, over drinking and underage drinking, making sure that's all liabilities covered. A lot of people don't think about all these insurances that are gonna exist when you sign a contract, so just make sure you're aware of those little sneaky charges that might come in with all of that, you know, you're not gonna think about. You're also gonna want to ask if you can have a DJ, band, you know, where they would set up. If you go and tour in person, you want to be able to like picture your wedding being in the venue. So I asked, like, if we had a ceremony inside, where would I, you know, walk down the aisle? And we could see it, we could picture me coming down the stairs, and it made Jake cry, you know. But just like you being able to stand in that venue, picturing yourself, like that's your wedding day, is very important, because sometimes everything can sound good on paper and you show up and it is just not what you're picturing. Girl, you do not have to do it. There are so many venues out there that can give you the wedding of your dreams. Do not settle is like my biggest motto right now. But just making sure, you know, like, okay, if I want a DJ, where would they set up, the floor plan, what kind of tables and chairs they have, where those would be within everywhere. And just so when you're there, you can kind of get a feel, lay of the land of how your wedding day might look and might run, you know, and just see if that's appealing to you. The biggest question that helped me out and I'm like sticking to was from my aunt. So she told me for photographers and videographers, if your venue has like a recommended list, it might be a good idea to use their videographer, their photographer, because those people have done these weddings at those venues. They know, you know, where the best places to take pictures. They know when the lighting's gonna be perfect for your sunset golden hour pictures that you want. They're gonna know about how long it takes to know how long your cocktail hour should be. they're experienced, but not only experienced like at the venue, and that's very important. You know, if you pick a family friend photographer, they're gonna have to go to the venue, check out like the lighting. No one's gonna know kind of where to take the best pictures at. Where these photographers, they've done it so many times before, they know, you know, up here on the right's a good option, the side of the barn's a good option, and it's really just gonna cut out all the unnecessary time because they've done this before, they know it looks best. And I think that's the best use of your money, is to get someone that is experienced, they know what they're doing, and can make your pictures beautiful, because at the end of the day, that's all you're gonna have left when you look back on your wedding is, you know, all your memories is gonna be of pictures and videos, and it's important to make sure that that's all squared away and exactly what you want. Once you've asked all of those important questions, the last question that you are free to ask is if you could see a sample contract. So that is where it's gonna tell you all about the policies for COVID, insurance, you know, if you can have candles in the reception, all the little small details that you might not think of would be answered in a contract. And you can 100% just say, can I see a sample one? Can I see an old one? Like, just, you know, say I want my wedding in July, I want it on a Saturday, this is how many guests are gonna be here. Can you write me a sample contract? They can do that in 5 minutes, you know, email it back to you just so you can kind of see what the total budget would look like with all the hidden fees in there that you're not aware of, what insurance would look like, you know, what the alcohol and food's gonna look like, and just get like, you know, all your questions answered all in one is gonna be on that contract. So that's something that a lot of people don't do, but you're free to do. You can ask for a sample contract. No one's gonna think that's weird. You know, you're making sure that this is gonna be the wedding that you want. So hopefully with all that mumble jumble that I just spilled out will help you on your venue searching. I know it is stressful. Trust me, I made an Excel spreadsheet. I had like maybe 20 venues on there. I wrote, you know, who I emailed, the address, the email address, how many guests they hold, how many hours you get it for, what's included, you know, all the different price packages, and it was a lot. It took me a good 2 weeks to just venue search, and then the one we picked just came out of nowhere, honestly, but I loved it from first sight. I'm so happy we booked with it, and just know that everything will come together, everything will work out. You've just got to go through these stressful times right now. After you book a venue, you know, now you can start calling catering places, and you can start booking your photographers, getting your invitations set up, and everything kind of comes into place after that. It's just getting a date and venue is very stressful. I'm hoping it ends there. We're starting the process of, you know, getting invitations and floor plans and other vendors we want to use, getting that all set up, and it's a little less stressful, but still, you know, we have to do this in 4 months, people, and I'm not sure we're gonna make it. So just bear with us, you know, all of us future brides are out there. We're all going through it together. We're gonna be okay. But hopefully some of these questions that I presented will help you just kind of know where to start, what to ask them if you go tour. I highly recommend touring in person. Pictures do not do any of these venues justice. And yeah, that's about it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope it helped you out. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. I can do as many wedding things and videos related stuff as I can. Sometimes it's overwhelming, but I know that everyone's in this position as well. So just let us know, and we're coming out with a whole bunch of fun content, so stay tuned for that, and we'll see you in the next video.